Have you ever caught your dog doing something so strange, so weirdly specific, that you just stood there for a moment and thought, why? Picture this. You fill the bowl, you set it down, your dog walks over, sniffs it, takes one single mouthful of kibble, and then turns around and walks all the way down the hallway into the living room. They drop it onto the rug, and they eat it, one tiny piece at a time, right there on the carpet you just vacuumed. And every single day, without fail, they do it again. Most people laugh it off. Some get a little annoyed. And honestly, who could blame them? You are the one finding rogue pieces of dry food wedged between the couch cushions at 11 o'clock at night. But here is the thing, and this is the part that genuinely changes everything once you hear it. Your dog is not being difficult. Your dog is not being messy just to push your buttons. What they are doing in that small, quiet, crummy little moment is one of the most ancient and deeply emotional survival rituals in the entire animal kingdom. And at the very heart of it is something so beautiful, so profoundly moving, that once you understand it, you will never look at that pile of food on your rug the same way again. To truly understand why your dog does this, we have to travel back. Not just a few years, not even a few generations. We have to go back tens of thousands of years, deep into the cold wilderness, to meet the creature that lives, even now, inside the heart of every dog you have ever loved. For a long time, we thought we understood wolves. Back in the middle of the 20th century, researchers told us a story about wolf packs that was dramatic and dark. It was a story of brutal dominance, of a tyrannical alpha wolf who ruled through pure aggression, constantly fighting to maintain his iron grip over the group. This idea seeped into everything, into how we trained dogs, how we thought about them, how we misread their every signal. And it all started from one very flawed source. A researcher in the 1940s watched a group of wolves together and drew enormous conclusions from what he saw. But there was a critical problem. The wolves he was studying were not a real family. They were unrelated strangers, pulled from different regions and locked together in a zoo enclosure. What he observed was not natural wolf behavior. It was the canine equivalent of placing strangers in a very small room and watching them fight over the last piece of food. Of course there was chaos. Of course there was aggression. That is what happens when you strip an animal of everything that makes its social life work. The real truth, the truth that decades of patient wilderness research finally revealed, is something so much warmer. Real wolf packs in the wild are not gangs. They are families. A breeding pair, the parents, and their children from different years, all living and moving together. And within that family, there is no constant fighting for control. The younger wolves naturally defer to their parents, the same way a child naturally looks to their mom and dad for guidance. It is cooperation. It is love. It is survival built on trust, not terror. But here is where it gets important for understanding your dog at home. Even inside that loving family unit, survival in the wild is never gentle. Because there is a moment, a specific, primal, electric moment that every member of the pack must navigate. It is called the kill site, and it is one of the most intense, dangerous, emotionally loaded environments a canine will ever experience. Imagine a large animal has been brought down. The entire pack converges on it at once. The parents eat first because their strength is what keeps the family alive. And surrounding that carcass is chaos. Multiple large bodies crashing into each other, the desperate sounds of bones cracking and meat tearing, the hot, iron smell of blood hanging in the frozen air. And underneath all of that noise and motion, there is a clock ticking. Because the smell of that kill is drifting from miles on the wind, and bears and cougars and other predators are already beginning to move. For a younger, smaller, or more anxious member of the family, standing directly in the center of all of that is terrifying. The competition is fierce. The risk of being accidentally knocked over or even bitten in the frenzy is real. So what do? They do something brilliant. They dart in, snatch a chunk of meat as quickly as they possibly can, and then they run. They pull away from the chaos of the kill site, retreating to the quiet, shadowed edge of the forest. And there, on the soft, still earth beneath the trees, they lay down their prize and eat it in peace. This is called peripheral feeding, and it is not weakness, it is not timidity. It is one of the most elegant survival strategies nature ever designed. It means the animal secures its calories while completely avoiding the risk of injury and conflict. And this strategy is so powerful, so deeply woven into the canine body and mind, that it did not disappear when wolves became dogs. It did not fade when your dog moved from the wilderness to your warm, carpeted living room. It is still there, right now, running quietly in the background of everything they do. So the next time your dog takes a mouthful of food and walks away from their bowl, picture that young wolf at the edge of the forest. Calm now, safe, eating slowly in the quiet, away from the noise. Because that is exactly what is happening. Your kitchen, with its hard floors and its sounds and its busy energy, feels like the kill site to your dog's ancient brain. And your living room, your soft rug, the spot right next to where you are sitting, that is the quiet edge of the forest. That is where they feel safe enough to simply breathe and eat. What you can do right now, today, is simple, and it costs nothing. Next time your dog carries their food out of the kitchen, do not redirect them back to the bowl. Instead, let them choose their spot. Sit nearby. Just be present. You are already the reason they chose that room. You do not have to do anything except stay. And in doing that, you are already speaking their language perfectly. Science has finally revealed something extraordinary, and once you hear it, you will never be able to unhear it. Think about the last time you set your dog's bowl down on the kitchen floor. You probably heard it, that little clink, maybe a soft rattle as the kibble settled. Barely noticeable, easily ignored. You walked away and went about your evening without a second thought. But your dog heard something completely different. Something that, for some sensitive souls, borders on genuinely painful. Here is the part that breaks so many dog owners' hearts when they finally learn it. The standard feeding setup that sits in the majority of homes across the world, the one that seems perfectly harmless and totally normal, the metal bowl on the tile or hardwood floor, might be one of the most acoustically overwhelming environments we could ever create for an animal like a dog. And most of us have absolutely no idea. To understand why, you have to understand something remarkable about who your dog actually is on the inside. Humans are visual creatures. We read the world through our eyes first, but your dog reads the world primarily through sound and smell. Their ears are architectural wonders, capable of detecting frequencies we cannot even begin to perceive, picking up vibrations from down the street, hearing the soft shuffle of footsteps in another room. Their hearing is not just better than ours, it is an entirely different experience of reality. Now take that exquisitely sensitive, finely tuned instrument and place it directly above a deep metal bowl. The moment a hard piece of kibble hits the inside of that metal basin, the bowl acts like a small echo chamber, amplifying the rattle and bouncing it back. But the real assault has not even begun yet, because most dogs are also wearing a collar, and on that collar are the metal tags that you put there to keep them safe. The rabies tag, the license tag, the little heart-shaped one with your phone number on it. Every single time your dog lowers their head to eat, those tags swing forward and strike the side of the bowl. To you, standing a few feet above the scene, it sounds like a faint, soft jingle. Pleasant, even. Familiar. But to your dog, with their face pressed close to the point of impact, it is a sharp, ringing crack of metal on metal, happening again and again and again, just inches from their eardrum. Research into how dogs experience sound has found that repetitive, high-pitched metallic noises carry a strong negative feeling for dogs. It is not just annoying background noise to them. It triggers a small but real wave of stress. It startles them mid-bite. It breaks their focus. It pulls them out of the simple, necessary act of eating and drops them into a state of low-level anxiety. And when that happens dozens of times per meal, every single day, something starts to shift. The bowl itself begins to feel like a source of discomfort. Some dogs begin to approach their food with visible hesitation. Some start to eat less. And some, the clever ones, the problem solvers, figure out the most elegant solution imaginable. If the noise comes from the bowl, they simply remove the food from the bowl. One mouthful at a time, they carry their meal somewhere else. And here is the detail that makes this so perfectly logical once you see it. They always go to the rug. Not the tile corner of the hallway, not the bathroom floor, the rug. Because when a piece of kibble lands on thick, woven carpet, the sound disappears. The fibers swallow it completely. The clinking stops. The crashing stops. The whole painful concert just ends. And your dog can finally eat in the acoustic equivalent of a quiet meadow. So what can you do when you understand this? The answer is beautifully simple. Consider switching to a ceramic, silicone, or heavy stoneware bowl, something that does not ring when it is touched. You might also look into a silicone tag sleeve for those metal collar tags, a small rubber cover that wraps around the tags and silences them completely. These are tiny changes that cost almost nothing, but for a sensitive dog, they can transform mealtime from an ordeal into something peaceful. Watch how your dog responds. Watch if they start staying at the bowl a little longer. Watch if the tension in their shoulders eases. That shift, that small exhale of relief, is your dog telling you that you heard them. And that matters more than you know. But the noise, as overwhelming as it is only one piece of this story. Because beneath the sound, beneath the echoes, there is another layer to why your dog seeks out that soft, carpeted place to eat. And this one is about something far more physical, something that lives in the body itself. Close your eyes for a moment and picture your dog eating. Really picture it. The way they lean forward, the way their weight shifts over their front legs, the slight spread of their paws as they brace to reach the bowl. Now picture that happening on a perfectly polished hardwood floor, or glazed tile, on a surface with absolutely nothing to grip. Because that is what a dog's paws are doing on most kitchen floors, searching for traction that is not there. In the wild, the ground beneath a feeding animal is never smooth. It is soil and packed earth and tangled roots and dense grass. It is a surface that grips back, that holds the animal steady while they tear and chew and brace. But a modern kitchen floor gives nothing. It is a frictionless stage, and every time a dog shifts their weight forward to reach into the bowl, there is that subtle, quiet instability, a slow slide, a micro-correction, a tiny, constant threat of losing their footing. And for a creature whose ancient brain is always calculating escape routes and threat responses, feeling unsteady on their feet while eating is not just uncomfortable, it is quietly alarming. The living room carpet fixes all of this instantly. The moment those paws press into carpet fibers, they have grip. Real, deep, reliable grip. The animal can plant themselves, brace fully, and eat from a place of complete physical confidence. They are no longer managing their balance and their meal at the same time. They are just eating, just being. And for a dog, that feeling of being fully grounded, fully stable, is not a small thing. It is a form of deep safety that runs all the way back to the beginning. And there is one more group this matters for, perhaps more than any other. Older dogs. If you have a senior dog who has recently started carrying their food out of the kitchen, please hear this. As dogs age, their joints change. The elbows and wrists that hold them steady at the bowl may carry a dull, quiet ache that they have no way of telling you about. Bending down to a bowl on a hard floor, day after day, with arthritic joints, hurts. It hurts in the way that a constant, low-grade soreness hurts. And so they find their own solution. They take the food somewhere soft. Somewhere they can lower themselves gently onto the rug, or stand with their head level rather than bent, and eat without that radiating discomfort. They are not being difficult. They are being wise. They are managing their own pain the only way available to them. If your older dog has recently started this behavior and you have not yet spoken to a vet, now is the moment. Not out of panic, out of love. Because catching joint pain early changes everything for the quality of a dog's remaining years. A simple adjustment, an elevated bowl, a softer eating surface, a gentle conversation with your veterinarian can turn their last chapter from one of silent suffering into one of genuine comfort. These behaviors, the noise avoidance, the search for stable ground, the quiet management of physical pain, they are all your dog doing their very best to navigate a world that was not designed with them in mind. They are adapting, constantly, creatively, without complaint. And every time you notice, every time you make even one small change that makes their world a little more comfortable, you are speaking directly to the part of them that has always needed, more than anything, to simply feel safe. There is one more layer to this story, and it is the one that, once you truly understand it, might just make you set down whatever you are holding, walk over to your dog, and hold them for a moment. Because everything we have talked about so far, the ancient memory of the wild, the noise, the slippery floor, all of it explains why your dog leaves the kitchen. But it does not yet explain where they go. And that destination, that specific, deliberate choice your dog makes about exactly where to bring their food, is where the real secret lives. Think about it this way. If your dog was purely trying to escape the chaos of the kitchen, if they just needed quiet and stability and safety, they have options. Your house is full of quiet corners. There is that dark space under the bed in the guest room. There is the closet at the end of the hallway. There is the cool, shadowed space behind the couch where no one ever goes. Any of those places would give them silence. Any of those places would give them soft ground. Any of those places would let them eat completely undisturbed. And yet, almost without exception, your dog does not go there. They come to you. They navigate the house with their little mouthful of kibble. They find the exact room where you are sitting, and they drop their food right there, right at your feet, right beside the couch where your legs are resting, right in the warmth of whatever space you currently occupy. That is not an accident. That is one of the most profound statements of trust that one living creature can make to another. To understand the full weight of what your dog is doing in that moment, you have to understand something about the act of eating itself. For any animal, eating is one of the most dangerous things they can do, not because of the food, but because of what eating requires. It requires lowering your head. It requires burying your face close to the ground. It requires narrowing your field of vision down to almost nothing, the sides of the bowl acting like blinders, cutting off your peripheral sight entirely. It means that while you are chewing, while you are focused and occupied and making noise, you cannot see what is approaching from behind. You cannot hear as clearly. You cannot react as quickly. In the wild, the moment an animal lowers its head to eat is the moment it is most exposed, most vulnerable, most at risk. Every dog carries this knowledge in their body, even if they have never spent a single day outside. The instinct does not care that you live in a safe suburb. It does not care that the biggest threat in your home is the neighbor's cat. It only knows that a lowered head means a blind back, and a blind back means danger. So when your dog picks up that mouthful of food and walks deliberately into the room where you are sitting, they are not just seeking comfort. They are making a calculated, ancient, deeply emotional decision. They are choosing you as their protector. They are placing you between themselves and whatever unknown thing might approach while they are vulnerable. They are saying, with their entire body, I cannot watch the horizon right now. I need someone I trust to do it for me. And out of every living being in their world, out of every option available to them, they chose you. Let that land for a moment. Your dog, carrying the survival instincts of thousands of years of wild ancestry, looked around at everything and everyone in their life and decided that you are the one. You are safe. You are steady. You are the one they trust with their life, literally, in the most biologically honest sense of that phrase. In the language of the wild, this is called sentinel behavior. In a wolf family, while one member eats, others stand watch, scanning the edges of the forest, listening for sounds that should not be there. Your dog has appointed you to that role, not out of helplessness, not because they have no other choice, but because in their heart, you are their pack. You are their family. And in the presence of family, the ancient fear of the lowered head becomes something bearable. There is something else happening in those quiet moments on the rug that science has only recently begun to fully appreciate. When your dog eats near you, when they settle into your space and allow themselves to be fully at ease in your presence, their body is releasing a cascade of the same bonding chemistry that flows between a parent and a child. The same warmth, the same sense of completeness. Researchers have found that the bond between a dog and their person activates some of the deepest social wiring in the mammalian brain, the kind built for family, for belonging, for home. Your dog is not just eating near you. They are experiencing you as home, as the place where the world feels manageable, as the living, breathing answer to every ancient fear their genetics gave them. And here is what makes this so bittersweet, so achingly beautiful when you sit with it long enough. You have an entire world. You have your job and your worries and your friendships and your history and your future stretching out ahead of you in all directions. Your life is vast and complicated and full of 1,000 different things pulling at your attention every single day. But your dog's world? Their world is so much smaller and so much more concentrated. Their world is largely you. The sound of your keys in the door, the specific weight of your footstep on the hallway floor, the smell of you on the couch cushion at the end of a long day. You are not just a part of their life. For most dogs, you are the gravitational center of it, the thing everything else orbits around. And so when they pick up their food and walk to wherever you are, they are not making a small, quirky, slightly inconvenient little choice. They are moving toward the center of their universe. They are choosing, in the most instinctive and honest way possible, to be close to the one thing in the world that makes them feel completely, unconditionally safe. The next time you see those little kibble crumbs on your rug, the ones you have sighed at 100 times, try something different. Try looking at them the way you now know how to look at them, as evidence, as proof, as a tiny, scattered love letter written in the only language your dog has ever had. Because what they are saying, what they have always been saying, every single time they made that walk from the kitchen to wherever you were sitting, is simple. You are my safe place. You are the one I trust. You are home. Now it is your turn to say something back. Not with words, just by staying in the room, just by being there, just by understanding, finally and fully, what that small, crumb-covered moment on the rug has always meant. Go find your dog right now, wherever they are in the house. Walk over to them slowly, the way they approach you when you are upset, carefully and quietly, without making it a big deal. Sit down on the floor beside them if you can. Let your hand rest gently on their back, and just breathe together for a moment. You do not need to say anything. They do not need you to. They just need you to be there, present and warm and still, the way they have always been there for you, through every hard day and every quiet night and every moment when you needed someone to simply stay. Think about every time your dog followed you from room to room, every time they pressed their body against your leg when you were sad, every time they put their chin on your knee without being asked, every time they looked at you across a crowded room with those eyes that somehow always seemed to understand more than they should. They were speaking this whole time in the only language they have, and now you can finally hear it. So here is what I want to ask you, and I genuinely want to know your answer. Think about one specific thing your dog does that used to seem strange or a little silly, but that now, with everything you understand, you realize is pure, unfiltered love. Maybe it is the way they always have to sleep touching some part of your body. Maybe it is the way they hover near the bathroom door when you shower. Maybe it is the food on the carpet. Whatever it is, tell me in the comments below. Because every single one of those stories is a window into a world most people never get to see. And this community, this quiet, compassionate corner of the internet, is exactly the place where those stories belong. If this journey into the secret inner life of your dog moved something in you, please share this video with someone who loves their dog but has not yet learned to truly hear them. You might change the way they see their best friend forever. And if you want to keep going deeper, if you want to keep learning the hidden language of the animals sleeping at your feet right now, then subscribe to The Soulful Dog, because we are just getting started. Next time, we are going to explore something that will completely reframe the way you understand your dog's eyes, and the extraordinary, almost unbelievable thing that happens in their brain when they look at your face. You will not want to miss it.